Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs by 11th Jan. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 11. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, new security process to protect Aadhaar data. So there have been instances of breach of Aadhaar database quite often, the latest one being in Jan 2018 itself. So now the UIDAI, which is the apex body for Aadhaar, Unique Identification Authority of India, it has decided that there will be two-tier security process, and this will come into effect from 1st June 2018. So this two-tier security means that apart from the Aadhaar number as such, there will be a virtual ID created, which will be a temporary 16-digit random number, which is mapped with the Aadhaar number. So when you are submitting your Aadhaar number presently, the Aadhaar number is stored by the various agencies, and then they can use it for other purposes also. So that's why now the Aadhaar number itself would not be shared. There will be no need to share the Aadhaar number as such. The virtual ID would be provided. So virtual ID can be created as such through UIDAI website, the Aadhaar app, and also at the enrollment center. So this virtual ID would be shared, and it is temporary. It's a temporary ID, so there is no purpose of storing and it cannot be duplicated. So that is the purpose. So here you can see the details provided about this protective layer virtual ID for Aadhaar card holders. Then next is, in FDI push, Centre allows 49% foreign ownership in Air India. So the Centre has eased foreign direct investment regulations, and for Air India specifically, there was a restriction that up to 49% cannot be held by foreign airlines. Though it is allowed for Indian companies, that up to 49% through approval route is allowed for other airlines also. For air transport services, scheduled, non-scheduled air transport services, 49% foreign holding was allowed. But their exception was there on Air India. It was not applicable to Air India. So this exception as such, this restriction for Air India has been relaxed now. So foreign airlines now can invest up to 49% under the government approval route, not the automatic route. For FDI, there are two routes. So under the approval route, government approval route, foreign airlines can invest here. So this is the present announcement. This is also coming close to the previous announcement by Singapore Airlines and Tata Group, when they have shown their interest to bid for the Air India, so that they can have this investment. So 49% is with foreign airlines, up to 49%, remaining 51% should be under Indian ownership and Indian national. So substantial ownership, effective control of Air India would be with Indian national only. So this is there. So here you can see the details provided, how now this government approval route has been allowed up, that foreign airlines can acquire 49% in Air India. So this will be making it more attractive for bidding for even foreign airlines. Then next is, Kendriya Vidyalayas asked to clarify on prayer verses. So Kendriya Vidyalayas are government run, central government run schools. There are around 1,125 Kendriya Vidyalayas all across the country and also abroad. 3 of them as such are abroad too. So the Supreme Court has now questioned the recent revised education code, which has been issued for all Kendriya Vidyalayas, in which students are said to making it compulsory for them to recite Sanskrit and Hindi verses with joined palms and closed eyes during the morning assembly. So this petitioner in the Supreme Court is challenging this education code revision, saying that it violates Article 19 of the Constitution, which is right to freedom of speech and expression, and also Article 28(1), the fundamental right under the Constitution, which prohibits the state, means it prohibits the government from providing religious instructions in an educational institution run on public funds. So you cannot make mandatory religious instructions in any government aided or an institution, educational institution run on government funds. So this is the issue. So Supreme Court has now raised a question on this. Next is, Supreme Court to form SIT to probe 186 anti-Sikh riot cases. So this is a special investigation team which is now proposed to be set up by the Supreme Court on 1984 Sikh riot cases, anti-Sikh riot cases. So in 1984, after the assassination of Indira Gandhi, and that was after Operation Blue Star. So the chronology is Operation Blue Star took place in the Golden Temple, Amritsar. Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, he was shot dead, and the terrorists who were held in Golden Temple were shot dead. But then there were tanks taken inside the Golden Temple, which is a holy place, the holiest site for the Sikhs, and it was damaged as such too, with bullets as such too. So this was not to the liking of the Sikhs across. So that's why Indira Gandhi was assassinated because of this Operation Blue Star in Golden Temple, and the assassination was also done by her two Sikh bodyguards. So after this assassination, the congressmen and other sympathizers here indulged into a riot in which the Sikhs in the capital in New Delhi and all across the country, also in various places, they were targeted and attacked. So this 1984 Sikh riot victims call for justice. They're still awaiting justice. There has been a special investigation team already set up by the central government, but then it has turned out to be unsuccessful, and that's why the Supreme Court says that it will set up its own, means the court's special investigation team, which will be headed by former High Court judge, and it will independently probe the 186 cases not investigated further by center sit. So this is being announced. Earlier to a similar attempt was made that the court should set up a special investigation team, but such steps were quashed by objections being raised that investigation is with the police. The police has to do investigation, not the courts. But this time again, the Supreme Court is adamant and is determined that it would go ahead with this new sit. So this is a detail regarding 1984 anti-Sikh riots too. Many Congress workers have been, accused of inciting and participating in these Sikh riots after Operation Blue Star in the Golden Temple. Then next is BCI notice to MPs, MLAs on legal practice. So the Bar Council of India, which is the country's apex lawyers body, so this has asked MPs and MLAs who also are practicing advocates to respond to a question which has been raised. A petition has been filed by a Supreme Court advocate as such, that these MPs and MLAs as such should be, MLAs, MLCs should not be allowed to practice as advocates, because they say that they are salaried public servants. They are being paid by the government, so they cannot ride on two horses at the same time. They cannot indulge in any other occupation. So there are around more than 500 lawmakers as such who are practicing advocates in various courts in the country. So these MPs, MLAs already draw their salaries from the Consolidated Fund of India. They are paid by the government. So then there is restriction in Bar Council of India rules, and Rule 49 states that salaried employee cannot practice as advocate in the courts. So that is why now this question has been raised, and the Bar Council of India's expert committee has asked the MPs and MLCs to respond on this. So this is the present news. Then next is PSLV all set to ferry 31 satellites tomorrow. So this is PSLV C40, which will be launched by ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. So this PSLV's previous launch, C39, actually did not release the satellite. So this was a huge setback for ISRO. But now it says that the corrective action has been taken. Why the nose cone of the previous satellite did not release the previous satellite launch vehicle, PSLV did not release the satellite, has been diagnosed, and necessary corrective steps ISRO says has been taken, and now PSLV C40 would be launched, which will be carrying 31 satellites, out of which 28 are paid satellites. So these are foreign satellites too, for which countries have paid. So the main payload is 710 kg Cartosat 2F, which is the Cartosat 2 series satellite. So this is the 7th satellite in Cartosat 2 series, as cartography, as you understand, is about mapping. So Cartosat is a satellite for that, and this will work for 5 years, and it is said to have sub-meter resolution. So it's high resolution satellite, less than a meter resolution. So it can give the details to that no extent, and it is said unofficially, though not officially declared, that it will serve the military surveillance purposes. So this is there. There are other two satellites too apart from these, this Cartosat 2F, which belong to ISRO. So these are micro and nano satellites, and 28 satellites from other countries. And these countries include Canada, Finland, France, Korea, UK and US. So these countries' satellites have been launched by ISRO on PSLV C-40. So Antriksh, which is the commercial arm of ISRO, is paid. There is revenue earned from the foreign countries for launching their small and medium satellites. And already 209 such small and medium satellites have been launched by ISRO for foreign countries. So this is the detail provided regarding PSLV C-40. So this will be the 100th satellite launch of ISRO now during this mission. So the Cartosat 2 series details is also provided, that is on mapping. So it's C-40, PSLV C-40 will also have the longest PSLV flight, which will be lasting for 2 hours 21 minutes. It will fly from Sriharikota, the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Andhra Pradesh. Then next is Gujarat to count elusive tigers. So Gujarat is said to have a good population of lions, but then tigers have not been found. The last tiger in Gujarat was spotted in 1985. And the tiger actually had been reported killed in a road accident in Dang district in Gujarat in 1985. So that was the last spotting. But now there are media reports coming that there are presence of tigers in Dang district, and that is why Gujarat has asked permission from National Tiger Conservation Authority to conduct a census here, and a census is now being conducted. So this is here. Then next is, how will homeless get Aadhaar? Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has questioned the government's Aadhaar as such, that how homeless people would be getting Aadhaar, because it is for the benefit of poor. They can access welfare services through Aadhaar. So there are lakhs of homeless people in the country. And when Aadhaar cards require permanent address, they do not have a permanent address, then how would they benefit? So 2011 census also says there are 1.77 million homeless people in the country, which is 0.15% of the total population of the country. So this actually issue came before the Supreme Court when it was having a hearing on the lack of night shelters for homeless people. So the northern states are suffering from a cold wave, and there is a need for night shelters for these homeless, otherwise they die of cold. So especially here in Uttar Pradesh and New Delhi, steps are being taken, and the Supreme Court is questioning what steps the governments have taken so far. So here on this issue, the issue of Aadhaar also came forth, that how these homeless people would acquire Aadhaar, because they do not have a permanent address. But then the government representative as such, the Attorney General reasoned that, Solicitor General as such reasoned that the urban homeless are mostly migrants from rural parts of the country. So they do have their permanent address in native villages, and they can use this data, this permanent address, and acquire Aadhaar. Then next is China to fund base in Afghanistan. So China has said that it will fund the construction of an Afghan counter-terrorism base in Badakhshan province. So this will be to counter cross-border infiltration of ethnic Uyghur militants from Badakhshan into China. So these steps have been taken, means all material technical expenses will be borne by the Chinese authorities. So Afghan analysts also say that as such that this should not be restricted only to Badakhshan but to entire northern region of Afghanistan. So counter-terrorism base where both countries can work together is being looked ahead to now. So these Uyghur Muslims are said to be conducting terrorist activities in the Xinjiang province in China. So these Uyghur militants, they reside in Badakhshan and then they rapidly shift to China and take shelter here. So that is why China is looking forward to funding this counter-terrorism base in Afghanistan itself. So here is the detail. This is the Badakhshan province, and here you can see the full map too. So here lies China. Right? So it provides the connectivity. The larger countries bordering are Tajikistan and Pakistan here. China has a small boundary with Afghanistan here. Then next is center opens arms to single brand retail FDI. So the central government has liberalized and simplified FDI for single brand retail trading. So for single brand retail trading now, and even for construction development, FDI norms have been relaxed. So 100% FDI is permitted under automatic route now for single brand retail trading. Also the sourcing norms which have been there, that is that single brand retail trading had to source at least 30% of the requirement of their purchases from India. So this sourcing norms have also been relaxed for the initial 5 years. So they can be set off. The sourcing of goods from India norm can be set off for initial 5 years, beginning from 1st April of the year in which they open up the first store of the firm. So this mandatory sourcing norm will be applicable after the completion of this 5-year period. Then they will have to start 30% sourcing norms directly as such. So this is there. So relaxation as such will help various companies like even Apple, which is keen on establishing its base in India but wants exemption from this 30% local sourcing norm. It says that it looks into high-end technological, as such equipments or technology as such, because of which it can not adhere to this 30% local sourcing norm. So for the initial 5 years, this relaxation is possible for Apple to now because of this announcement. So this is there. And for construction development, the FDI relaxation which has been announced is that real estate broking services, not real estate as such, but real estate broking services is not real estate business, and it will be eligible for 100% FDI under automatic route. So here too 100% FDI and automatic route will be allowed. Then next, the last news item is World Bank projects 7.3% growth in 2018. So India's growth rate for 2018 has been announced as such, projected by World Bank as 7.3%. So this, and even 7.5% in the next year as such. So for the next 2 years, this is the growth projection of World Bank. So India's estimated growth for 2017 has been around 6.7%. China in 2017 has grown at 6.8%, but then the growth rate projected for China by World Bank is 6.4% for the next year, while India's growth is drastically high as projected. So this is the news. So this is a forecast as such. So these are the news items. Thank you.